Give you guys a minute to just pile on in here. Meanwhile, I'm going to make some pancakes, some protein pancakes. By the way, when you guys go to Mexico, this is the hot cakes that you want to mix up with your protein and the other stuff. See, I only got this much. Okay. That's plenty for us because we're carbing up Sunday. Tomorrow we start doing cardio, hard cardio, and dropping the calories down so we get even more shredded. Okay, intermittent fasting is good, but these days you gotta re-kick in your metabolism by eating a cheeseburger and French fries. But I don't want to talk about bodybuilding today. Just a little bit about why some people like hotcakes and other people don't. You know, funny? Wouldn't it be odd too if your family members, because you don't like pancakes, seem to got a problem with you? What's up, King Sigma man? God bless America. Handled that problem, by the way, told you about. Handled that problem. So anyway, we're making some protein pancakes. Just gonna show you guys how I do it. I use 25 grams of protein. Always use vanilla. Don't get chocolate. Don't get strawberry. It tastes weird, and that's not what you want. Another thing is that instead of using oil in your pan, get you some fat back. Something that, well, here in Mexico, they have it's kind of like ghee. It's just a type of butter, but it's all from pigs and cows and fat, and it's got growth hormone in it, and it's got stem cells in it. So the more you treat your body good with good foods, eventually you're going to wake up one day and have a six-pack. It happens. Intermittent fasting, especially. Man, I'm going to tell you guys something. When you come down to Mexico, for example, you come here, you got to train. We're going to do intermittent fasting for 12 fucking weeks. You know how that goes. Let's see. Oh, definitely 2 eggs. I am not against egg yolks, you guys. It is definitely good for you. 1 egg has 8 grams of protein. If you put 3 in, that's the same as a scoop of protein. In this case, I'm not doing that. I got 1 scoop of protein, which is 25, but I added 2 eggs. And by the way, you can make all kinds of cool stuff with pancakes, pancake mix. Load it with fruit. You can load it with, and this is for carving up, you guys. I'm not telling you guys that are in a competition ready to compete that you should go be eating hotcakes. You know, on the contrary, you need to let your body get down to a certain weight, you know, where you're constantly walking around like this, and you see, oh, I'm not losing fat anymore. That's why you got to have a metabolism reset, basically, and get on that. So, how many of you guys would like to know what it's like to be the black sheep? Who's the black sheep here? Anybody a black sheep? I'm calling all black sheep anyway. Seems to me like there's a lot of us. And it seems to me like the complaints that most people have about us are pretty much those leftist liberal crap stuff that they talk about on the news all the time. Even though you may not be political, the behaviors are very political. So who are your enemies? Who are your enemies? I can tell you who my enemies were starting at age 4. I knew for a fact by age 4 that I was smarter than most people in my family. By age 4, I could read. Before age 4, I could do math. I knew science. I was reading encyclopedias before most people are even in kindergarten. That's a good reason, because if your parents are stupid, which most of our parents were, most of our parents were just fucking idiots that never didn't even know how dumb they really were. So let's say how dumb I am by heating a pan without putting any butter in it or manteca. So I make these real thin because I got to make a bunch of them for both she and I. So I make them thin. They're loaded with protein. So I'm going to make about 20 real small little deals. So that way you can control your carb intakes. You could count. You could count how many carbs is in one tiny little pancake. It's 25 grams of carbs. So if you have two teeny tiny grams, two pancakes, that's 50 grams. You're getting close to your daily intake. If you're a bodybuilder and you're doing that stuff, you got to be careful of the carbs you take in. You can't just be eating any random carbs. You got to have carbs that are good for you, carbs that last long term, not the short spikes like pancakes. This is a short spike carbohydrate. And it'll get you by temporarily, but it's not what you want to eat if you want to eat healthy. What is one of the things that people are jealous of you about? Education, maybe your status, maybe how many girlfriends you got that they don't. There's a lot of that going on. Families are usually their number one critics of most anybody. My first business, now guys, remember I was adopted, and the man that adopted me had another child after the fact. And so after that, the kid was born, and so they were like, fuck you. Basically, like any like family pictures, to push your ass out of it, okay? Because they don't want you to be in it. I figured out why. They were embarrassed because A, I was smarter than them, and B, when this other kid was born, they found out that this fucking kid's half retarded and can't fucking read. And then when he goes to be an adult, becomes a drug addict. Me, on the other hand, I knew I was a fuck up growing up, so I had to do everything I could to change that. What I do, I went to church because my problems were supernatural. And when you got supernatural problems, you need supernatural help. And that's precisely what I got. The good thing is I had a grandma that read the Bible with me. I don't know if you guys had one of those, but my grandma read the Bible with me. Now, I was adopted, so it wasn't my real grandma, but to me, she was close enough. And I'm going to tell you this, guys, that if you're the black sheep, if you're a fucking black sheep, and your damn friends, as your family members, they minimize your efforts, they constantly tell you your goals are stupid and you shouldn't do them because they're jealous, envious, really. Envy is one of those human emotions that suck. Parents being dumb, parents that raised us during the 70s and 80s know they're dumb. And at this point, they're like, I don't know how to work these smartphones. They do. They just lack a lot of abilities to raise children because they were raised themselves to be part of a system made by the Rockefellers to enslave us all into working in a factory and behaving ourselves. And if we didn't behave ourselves, as in when you hear the bell ring at school, all that is the old system that was made by the Rockefellers in order to scare people into compliance. It worked pretty good too, because if you're late to work, you could get fired. Now, why would I deliberately embarrass people in my family? Oh, I most definitely did not. Instead, I started setting goals and doing things for myself that upset them. Okay, I'll give you an example. Most kids probably want to do a martial arts or something like that. And, you know, they got to buy a gi, they go learn, then they got to pay for classes. And if your parents are not involved with you, that's going to be a pretty hard goal to accomplish. And, oh, I know what that's like. Because if you got no support from your family members, how are you supposed to accomplish any goals? Well, you get on your bicycle, which is what we did, and you go and do it. You guys know I played football. And so I had an alcoholic mother that always promised to go to the games. Always, I'm going to go one day, because the excuse is always, I had to work for you to take care of you. And that's just a bullshit, because she went home every night and drank a bottle of fucking scotch and passed out. Every night I had a game, that bitch was never there. I'm looking in the stands like as if, You know what I mean? As if they're gonna like magically fucking appear when I know they're not. So playing football, and well, let's just say it this way: my adopted father used to play baseball, and I sucked at baseball, and his adopted kid was halfway good at t-ball, so there was that bit of competition, growing up. And when I said I don't want to fucking play gay ass baseball, then he had a problem with it. So you can see this is progressively getting worse as time goes on, and eventually I find out by accident. And I see I'm a grown man now. I'm 50 years old, but right around age 40 or 38, right as I was retiring, I was doing a patent on a product. And so I said, hey, you know what? My old adopted father's got a hot shot lawyer down in Florida. Hey, I wonder if I could get him to do the patent search for me. So I have this very surprising conversation with his lawyer. And he says, hey, oh yeah, hey, how are you? I'm like, great, man, what's up? He's like, oh no, man, it's like your dad told me I'm having nothing but problems with this kid. Never said that to me once growing up. No, I'm having problems with you because of XYZ. No, they live these passive aggressive lives that indirectly want to punish you without talking to you about the problem. Now, if any of you guys had parents like that, I feel sorry for you, because none of us really deserve the bullshit that we had to put up with because we had ignorant parents who were being manipulated by TV, who were being manipulated by, employers and government, especially in the 70s. That was Jimmy Carter, where inflation went bananas. But, and if you guys don't know, they had those oil rigs and those oil tankers off the coast of Miami riding around in circles during the oil crisis in the 1970s. So all the stuff, all these problems in the world have all been created. If this is a video game, or if this is a simulation, I want to thank my player one for kicking fucking ass right now, because all these problems that I had as a kid and as a young adult with my family were fucking solved when I went in the military and never went back. Because I don't know about you guys, but you probably joined the military because you wanted money. You're never going to get rich. Some of you guys wanted education. You say that to yourself. Some of you guys just wanted to get the fuck away from your mother. And if you grew up in a single mother home like I did, and you had a father that abandoned you, like the old alienation story, where he ain't shit, he doesn't pay child support, he doesn't care about you, he used to beat me, you know what I mean, womanizer. The same old story that you hear is the same story that I heard. So now when I see this generation of fuck-ups that we have now, and then those fuck-ups had children and are having babies constantly now, and out of wedlock, of course, it's very, very easy for me to see the root cause and conditions of how this shit started to begin with. So I'm going to give you guys a laundry list of things that I did to humiliate my family. And I want you guys to do the same thing if you have parents that humiliated you growing up. Now, there's a saying that the best revenge is incredible success. That's one form of revenge. But then the Stoic philosophy says the best revenge is no revenge at all, but rather don't be like your enemy, which makes a lot of sense to me, because these motherfuckers were my enemy for sure. As a matter of fact, even my own brother, who I tried to help get off heroin, I sponsored him. I flew him from Miami. I went to his house. He had a pile of garbage in front of his house that was the size of up to the fucking roof. It smelled like hot trash and cigarettes in his house. He had crack whores and prostitutes in his house. And I was actually scared to be inside because all the furniture's fucking broken. There's spray paint on everything. And it stinks like shit. So I offered my brother an opportunity to get out of Miami and come and live with me overseas and help him get his shit together. So I send him a plane ticket. Before I send the plane ticket, he's insisting on me flying him to New York to go see some whore. And I'm like, dude, no. And then he gets mad at me for not doing that when I'm trying to save his fucking life. He's living in an abandoned house, shitting in a shit bucket, and living with crack whores. Now, his father's up in Georgia. He knows what's going on because he gave that motherfucker that house. And my brother refinanced that house, and he got that money and he blew it all on heroin. So, as you can see, he didn't give a fuck about his son, and he's made that a point that he doesn't help anybody. But yet, he adopted 2 other kids. I don't think he adopted. He married a single mother that had 2 kids. She was apparently an abused wife, which, by the way, has no police records whatsoever. And those kids have never seen that father. So she alienated her kid's father under a lie, saying that he was beating her. He might have been beating her. I've met the lady. She's a bitch. But that doesn't justify her never letting her kids see their father because she had a problem with the fucking ex-father. So anyway, this guy goes and marries her and takes these 2 young-ass kids on. I'm a grown adult by then. Now I fast forward all these years and I say, hey, listen, why don't you help out my brother, help him get a truck to get on his feet? No, I'm not going to do none of that shit. And this is a motherfucker that married a woman who died doing cocaine and heroin or pills and was addicted to everything, who was a crack whore, an actual prostitute, married a crack whore. My adopted father married a crack whore. So as you can see, I don't need to try too hard to humiliate these motherfuckers. What did I do? I went off to the fucking military and I made something for myself. I got through a lot of the trauma. Not a lot, not all of it, but some. Okay? This is a motherfucker that when my mom had some redneck from West Virginia putting a gun to her head, that the SWAT team had to be called in, he goes and takes me and my brother out of that situation, go to his house, only to be turned around and sent back. Me, not my brother, me. See, he took his fucking natural kid. And then I gotta go live in this fucking fucked up environment with these goddamn rednecks, which, by the way, abused the shit out of me and threatened me constantly with physical fucking violence. And the guy knew he couldn't, so he had a son that was bigger than me, have me beat the shit out of me on a fucking regular basis. And by the way, his name is Roger Meadows and lives in West Virginia. Both son and father both live in West Virginia. And I haven't seen them since I was like 12 because that's when all this went down. He went to jail for putting a shotgun or shooting it. No, wait a minute. He put the gun to my mom's head and he shot out in the front yard. So discharged a weapon. And by the way, this is back in the 80s when you could discharge weapons outside and get away with it because cops did it too. So you could see I grew up with a very degenerate redneck family that's were a bit of a low class family. I don't know how the fuck that happened, where you got low class people adopting children. But it could be just like we're talking about today. A lot of those children that are adopted today are used and abused. And I can guarantee with 100% certainty that I can fall right in that fucking category. Okay? They made sure that I was sexualized. They made sure that I didn't go to school. They made sure that if I had to be somewhere that I wouldn't be there on time. So you could see how they're trying to program me to be like them, but I insisted not to be. I was always on time. I never missed a day of school. If they didn't take me to school or if I had missed the bus, I found a way to get to school. I didn't give a fuck because my education meant that if I don't get this education, I can't go in the military. I can't break this generational curse by getting the fuck out of here. And so that's what we're talking about. Breaking the generational curse means getting the fuck away from the people who caused it. What do we got? Let's talk about it, my man. OKL. I really appreciate you coming in, man. And this is hot cake day. We're carving up on protein pancakes. 25 grams of protein. The brand that you want to buy is Tres Estrellas. This is in Mexico, by the way. These are non-GMO foods. GMOs are not allowed in Mexico. So I don't feel like crap when I eat, even when it is carbs like this. So what do you guys think? Put something in there in the chat. What's it say? What do you say? Oh? I could do that. Can you do that? Hold on. Uh-oh. Almost done. So, how did I humiliate my father? I graduated from high school. How did I humiliate my father? By joining the military and never going back. Because when you're frozen in time in the memory of somebody, that's all they remember about you. That's all they remember about me. You know what I mean? Being a dipshit, getting in fights in school, drinking underage. They drank alcoholically my entire time I was with them. They smoked pot. They did cocaine. They smoked crack. What other drugs did they do? I don't know. But like I said, for some of you guys that think I'm privileged, I was raised by middle-class white trash fucking people that didn't know anything about raising children. They did it for the money. Every time you adopt a kid in this state that we were in, the state pays you $800 a month. And this is in the 80s. That's crazy. It's like doubling a person's salary. But these scamming pieces of shit that I had as parents that on a regular basis try to constantly, how do we say it, sabotage anything and everything I ever tried to do because they were jealous, out of jealousy. Karate, it's stiff with jealousy. Playing guitar, it sounds like noise. Bodybuilding, this is crazy, but I prepared for Mr. Columbia for the first IFBB pro show, amateur show in Columbia, and I got 4th place in Mr. Columbia. Do you have any idea how hard it is to get in the top 10 of any bodybuilding show? So and this is old school, so I'm sending photographs in the mail, the old snail mail, from Columbia to my adopted father. And I'm not, mind you guys, I prepared for an entire year for this bodybuilding show. And what does this cocksucker have to say? He says I look like a frog. Frog. Oh, really? Thanks. Not, you look good. Hey, good job. None of that shit. You look like a fucking frog. Okay? I don't know, appreciate that. But you know what's crazy is that my friends today, as an adult, 50 years old, appreciate me. Because those who have come with me this far in life know what the fuck I went through, know the type of assholes with no fucking values and all that goddamn horse shit that some of you guys have had to go through too. Parents suck sometimes and they're not good at it because they're raised by single mothers. They're uneducated. They have no couth. They're ridiculously socially and just inappropriate. You guys always talk to me about going out with girls that are ratchet. Imagine white rednecks being ratchet. Okay. So anybody who says, are you sure do have a easy time talking about black women being ratchet? Motherfuckers, I'm not talking about black women. I have no opinion on black women. I have an opinion on women that act ratchet. And if you feel some kind of way about that, that's your fucking problem and your fault, because white men don't really have a place in this world to talk about black women because they're not our women. I don't know. I got no critical thing about it because, first of all, I haven't lived in the United States since 1992. The evolution of black women when I was in the United States was they all had short hair, they all had braids in their hair, and they had the long, the big balls that they put on the end of the ponytails. But these were actual like braids from real hair. So fast forward all these years, now they're all wearing wigs, and the men don't like the wigs. So I support the men's decision on the whole wig thing because also white people that wear hair extensions and put the hair hats on, they don't wash their fucking hair either. and they end up smelling like a bale of hay after about a week or two. I know, I had one. That bitch had tits like this, long blonde braids, and every 6 weeks she would have to go get her hair done. What I didn't know is that fucking hair that she had on her head wasn't real at all. She looked like a Viking, basically. But she had that hairstyle for as long as I knew her. But again, she didn't wash her fucking hair. She was a filthy bitch. And God, I think she was actually hooked on Oxycontin too after I'd heard about her. These are people that, like I said, and this is not just United States people. People in Macedonia have the same problem. People in Turkey have the same problems. So we're talking about men and women, not blacks and whites. So when it comes to our families, we all know that our families have been fuck ups. There's no question about it. Dads haul ass because mom pisses them off and pushes them away, talks shit about them to their family, and maybe their brother or their uncle threatens the dad and says, "Don't you ever come back here, I'll kill you." And they take that shit seriously, and they do. Fast forward 22 years later, same shit happens to me. And this is another reason why I humiliated my father, because I did not stay married to a ratchet bitch that was dumber than this fucking countertop. And I refused to stay married to her. So this is shit that she pulled on me. She went back to the States. I'm in Germany. We just had a baby. She goes back to the States and then suddenly loses her passport. Then tells my adoptive father that, oh, I didn't want to be with her anymore. I just wanted a divorce. I didn't want to be a father and all this shit. And told my daughter that same bullshit story. And so, of course, you get ridiculed because we're the guy. We're not supposed to get divorced. Remember that? Women are the ones who file for divorce because of abuse, because this guy's an alcoholic, because he beats her. So there's all this horse shit that they make up in order to make us look bad. And I'm going to tell you guys something. And even this fucking simp asshole fucking adopted father that I had, I looked up to him until I found out that he was a cheating piece of shit. He was a cheater. Everything that fucking guy did was mediocre. He had a junior college degree, went to work for the county, and invented his own job. So he didn't need to have qualifications. He just showed up. Because back in the 70s, all you had to be single, white, good looking, and rich in order to get a top quality job. They don't hire poor people. So you know that. The whole diversity hires and all this shit. Motherfuckers in the 70s, all they did was hire you based on your economic status. This is before the internet, by the way, guys. This is when the jobs came in during the classified ads. You had to call on the phone. And so the result of this man basically hustling his way into a job, a secure job with the government, based on bullshit. I know he lied on his resume because you could lie on your resume back in those days because they didn't verify. Always seeing fights between the dad's fucking women friends, and I'm a little kid and I'm hearing them fucking argue about bullshit. You're always trying to accuse me, saying I'm over here sucking Bill's cock and all this shit. She was. All the fucking horrors that this man had around him were fucking him. So, you want to be embarrassed? Your whole fucking life is an embarrassment. And you know what? When his grandfather passed away and left him all that fucking money from Coca-Cola and all the stocks and all this shit, he gave that money to my adoptive father and to his son. And guess what I got? Fucking nothing. Now, I'm not resentful because I already have my own money. They can fuck off. I'm not to the point of fuck you money, but I'm at that point of fuck you. I'm at that point of fuck you because here I am all these years later, grown-ass man, and I'm going to give you guys a backstory. He married a woman that, when I was coming back from the fucking Gulf War, came at me. He was going out with this woman. He hadn't married her yet, with the 2 kids, and she screams. She's in there mopping and screams at me when I come into the house, lies to him and says I threatened to kill her. Now, I just came back from the fucking war. Okay, I got PTSD like a motherfucker. I'm drinking from the minute we leave Saudi Arabia or Kuwait, wherever we left from. I'm drinking the entire flight, which is 12, 14 hours. Land, go to his house. He's not there, but his wife's there. I've never met this lady in my life. And she comes at me like that. And so you stupid bitch, all you are is just a gold digging cunt. And that was all she needed to hate me for the rest of her life. And it was enough for her to tell the stepfather, the adopted father, that I threatened to kill her, which was not true. So for 20 or 30 years, he alienated me. He didn't talk to me. Every time I talked to him on the phone, he was silent. I'm like, this is fucking weird. So when I found that lawyer helping me do my patent search, he said, yeah, your dad says that you have problems with you and all this stuff. I was like, really? Couldn't he be talking about my brother? Because first of all, I just literally got back from the military a week ago. This is 2008 or 9. And I'm talking to this guy as an adult looking to do a patent. He's talking to me as if I am the child of somebody who really fucking hates me. And hey, you grow up with somebody pretending like they like you, and it turns out of this years later they fucking hate you. Why the fuck would I respect that person? And they wonder why I don't talk to them. When I do talk, they keep the phone there. They never say a goddamn word. And now this is even better because this is how I caught my brother in the middle of this fucking lie. This is how I know he was in on it. I go to his house that, by the way, his father gifted him. And he foreclosed on it, by the way. And tried to turn around and blame me for it. Your ass got thrown in jail. You ain't paying no fucking bills, and I'm not taking care of your ass. I flew that dipshit to fucking Colombia to live in my house. He gets me evicted from smoking weed, inviting whores over wearing, high heels until 4 o'clock in the morning. He's got the music blasting. I will never forgive that motherfucker for what he did to me. He got between me and my wife. He got between me and my kids. He stole from my fucking house. I had a pharmacy in my house for treating patients, and had every single thing you could possibly need. He would go into my house and go into the pharmacy and just take whatever the fuck he wanted. Then I want to help this guy out, so I opened up a supplement store across the street from the most popular gym in the entire town. He lost the keys. I had to call a locksmith to open this shit up. He takes out all the supplements that I just paid probably 50 grand for, puts them in his house. Now, instead of attending to an actual store where we'd make money, he decided to just do cocaine and smoke weed all day. And then instead of actually doing anything with his fucking life, he was going around and selling scoops of protein to fucking poor ass people in the middle of fucking the worst barrios at these outdoor gyms where they're lifting weights with cement blocks. So I give him the keys to the goddamn kingdom, and then he does that shit to me. And then he calls my wife a bitch. You guys who know my wife know she's a lovely bird. She's beautiful, smart, comes to a good family, has her own fucking money. So there really is none of this. He basically geared his comments towards me and my wife and my family because he hadn't seen me in 15 fucking years. He didn't even know me. You know what I'm saying? My brother doesn't know the fuck I am. And he knows me even less now because he's talking to me about shit that I talked to him 10, 15 fucking years ago that might have been something I'd ha-ha about because I was the evil bastard. But now I'm part of the righteous sphere. I don't lie. I don't cheat. I don't do people wrong. Or none of this fucking horse shit. So you can't come at me with any fucking thing that says I did this or that because it's not true. I paid for all the fuck shit I did. I did all my fucking probation. I paid back all my fucking restitutions. And mind you, these are things that I picked up living with this piece of shit family. How to drink, how to smoke cigarettes, how to be a piece of shit liar, how to feel the need to lie all the time because you're criticized all the time. So you can see, guys, lying is directly affiliated with their family. If you grow up with a family full of fucking liars or people that criticize you, you're going to want to do whatever it takes to shelter yourself from that kind of pain. You don't want people coming at you like that. And so now I am here advocating for fathers. And you probably ask me, well, why would you do that? You had such a bad situation with your father. Well, because I'm not a bad father. And you cunts who think that because my ex-wife ran me off, made my life difficult when it came time to see my daughter, made it impossible, too busy, too whatever, and then turn around and say I'm the fucking asshole. I mean, that's exactly how it went. Then add insult to injury, this adopted father of mine who married this fucking lady, she decides that, oh, I punished him by alienating him from his father, so now I'm going to punish him worse by becoming friends with his ex-wife and kid so that I can double down on my efforts to make him feel bad. Guys, you know what? It's going to be so much fucking fun. It's going to be suing these people. I told my brother, I said, I'm never going to see you again. In fact, I won't ever see you again. Your father, on the other hand, I'll see him, but it'll probably be at the funeral. That's how much I fucking care about these douchebag ass people. Now you might ask yourself, boy, you sound resentful. I'm saying this in such a way so you guys realize what I went through. I'm good now, but I want to tell you guys how I humiliated these pieces of shit. And it isn't by doing YouTube videos. Oh no. It was by joining the fucking fire academy, educating myself, going to college, not telling them anything that was going on in my life so that when I saw them again, they're like, oh, gee, are you still doing plumbing? Now, mind you guys that when you join the military, you have that job you got to do when you first go in after you leave tech school or whatever. And in my case, I was civil engineering, so I had to do a year of plumbing internship. Then I had to do electrical. Then I did HVAC. Then I did structural. And then I did drafting. And then I got into all the heavy stuff. Make matters more fun, I got so good that I became an instructor. I got so good that I was able to pull this off for years, not being the very best, but being better than them. So at this point, I'm going to tell you guys I have a book that I'm writing right now. It's called Unbroken, the story of me. And this is really, I'm talking to you guys right now from a recovered point of view. Because I know some of you have parents that I had. Very similar anyway. And I know that some of you are dealing with that childhood trauma because of that. And I know that some of you want to be free from that shit and you want to come down and see the professor here in Mexico and stay for the boot camp, maybe stay for the for a training seminar, maybe you want to stay for the whole month, maybe you want to do the fire academy, which is an entire year, which you will gladly live here in the firehouse with me and you'll work every goddamn day. So if that interests you, guys, hit me up in the comments because you need therapy. I definitely am getting therapy in every way, shape, if possible. But like I said, the best revenge, just like the Stoic says, is no revenge at all. But just do not be like your enemy. I'm the professor. I hope you got the most out of this, and I'm out.